want to smash the guitar.
Matt and Jeff, you ready?
Yeah. We have a ESP LTD.
Not for long. Whenever you're ready.
What happens when supergroup Metallica meets Timewarp?
Step away from the barbecue.
I've never seen my fingers move so slowly before, ever.
Let the medievalness begin.
Turn it up to 11 and
Turn it one louder.
I didn't know my hairline was receding that far back.
Timewarp.
a little toward me.
There are a lot of things you can say about Jeff Lieberman.
Okay.
He knows science.
All that.
He can jump rope. And he knows how to take a hit in the pursuit of knowledge.
Oh, all right. I've had enough.
Jeff is also an accomplished musician, which is why he's convened this group of musicians in our Timewarp studios for some show and tell about the science of music. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is this, the Grand Ole Opry? Maybe this will change your tune. That's right. Metallica, one of the world's biggest bands, has invited us into their studio for some fun and games.
Awesome. How's it going, guys?
Holy crap, Metallica.
Let's meet the guys. Singer James Hetfield. Drummer Lars Ulrich. Guitarist Kirk Hammett. Bassist Rob Trujillo. Together, they are one of the most popular heavy metal bands of all time, selling over 100 million albums. And they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in April 2009. Next stop, Timewarp.
Metallica, huh?
We're in the Metallica studios, dude. How cool is that?
Well, let's get ready, because they're going to be in here in a second.
So what do you give the band that has seen it all? You show them things they've never seen before in themselves. That's right. We're going to warp each band member.
I've never seen my fingers move so slowly before, ever.
And give you an all-access backstage pass to the high-speed show.
I'd like to state for the record that I have no shoes on. Also have no underwear on, but can edit that part out.
First up, frontman James Hetfield. When dealing with a rock and roll legend, you treat him like a rock and roll legend.
Here. Like I got a job with Metallica.
Yeah. Water sand.
It's the only thing I'm qualified for.
Water boy.
Take the shot that
Vocalist for a heavy metal band is a punishing breakneck job. And the stresses on James's body and vocal cords are obvious. Even in real time, we notice his intense facial contortions. Now watch at 2,000 frames per second as he literally spits out the lyrics. His power and concentration are amazing. Even James can't believe the amount of saliva that spews from his mouth.
Ah! Wow.
Yeah.
What was all that stuff?
Explain that.
You're creating vapor there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, when you pressurize your mouth like that, even at this temperature, you can create this thing to go to vapor, to go to steam.
It's awesome. Look, there's little pieces of me flying.
Little pieces of you.
So when you go to a concert, that's what you get on you.
You're taking
Those
a
are
little
expensive seats.
little
little bit of James goes
You
home
don't
with everyone
know-
in the front
You don't
row.
even know it. You can't even tell. Awesome. You don't want to use this mic.
No. So I think the next thing we want to grab is you wanted to bash a guitar.
I want to smash the guitar.
Well, which guitar do you like the least?
It has nothing to do with like or dislike. We respect our instruments.
Yeah.
But we just want to see how well they're made.
From the inside.
Pretty much.
All right, so we got a solid body right here, so this should be
Solid
pretty
body, ESP LTD, worth about, 20 grand.
tough. Not for long.
Okay, maybe not 20 grand, but smashing expensive guitars is a time-honored rock and roll ritual.
You guys ready?
Whenever you're ready. Again.
That was a good one.
James was such a fan of that, he wanted an encore.
We have a $50,000 X-Tone.
These getting more and more expensive.
They
Easier
are.
to destroy.
This one's got some hollowness to it, so we'll see how this one goes. I'm hoping 2 whacks we can do this one.
I'm expecting one.
All right.
I trust you. All right, take it away. There you go. That was the one. All right, man. You want to take a look at these?
Sure. A solid body guitar is called solid for a reason. So I thought the bolt-on neck was the weak point where it was going to go.
Especially with that much mass.
Yeah, it held on really well. Look at the strings going.
Yeah. I was surprised the
there
strings
it went.
made it completely through this.
Yeah, it's a road-worthy guitar.
Next, James smashes the X-Tone at 1,000 frames per second.
Yeah.
This is the hollow body. I'm anxious to see what goes up the arms, if we can catch it in this shot. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Man, I gotta start working out.
Do you remember the old-time string band we met earlier? Well, not to be outdone by Metallica, now they are going to destroy a $100,000 bass fiddle. Well, maybe not. More with them later. In the meantime, if you're a Metallica fan, you know that in 1992, James suffered second and third degree burns to his arms, face, hands, and legs when he got on the wrong side of one of the band's special effects. Well, some genius thought it would be a great idea to recreate that accident and capture it in high speed.
Thank you.
Well,
the most horrifying moment in my life. You want to recreate in front of my eyes.
If you're comfortable with it, I think it's a potential to help it from happening to anyone else.
To pull this off, we bring in a pyrotechnic specialist.
Anybody that's within 4 to 6 feet of this is going to feel heat coming off of it.
And find a stand-in for James. A nice, juicy ham.
It's crazy how close it is to human skin there.
With high-speed camera in place, we clear the area and count it down.
Okay, fire in 3, 2, 1.
The flame is cooking our ham at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause third-degree burns on human flesh in a fraction of a second. This demonstration takes James on an unwanted stroll down memory lane.
I was playing Fade to Black. This is in Montreal. The neck of the guitar I had was a natural colored wood. It was charred black, except where my hand was nice and white. All the strings instantly melted and exploded. Basically, my hand, the whole left side of me was, my hair, everything just kind of went off. This was pretty much down to bone. Pretty much a year recovery.
Really?
I mean, it seems pretty amazing. The recovery seems pretty
everything.
Yeah.
You're feeling
Everything's
all the way
great.
through?
Just obviously a different color.
We were worried our reenactment might have struck the wrong chord. But those concerns quickly went up in smoke.
All right.
It's looking pretty bad.
Much better now.
After lunch, we'll be back with more Metallica.
Remember when you were in Metallica? That was awesome.
Yeah.
But next, before we get to Metallica's second set, we're going to get back to basics and explore both the art and science of music with the help of our old-time string band. Now, it's hard to believe that this and this are all expressions of the same mathematical principles.
Got it?
But they are, and that math is pretty basic once you start adding it up.
Let's start with guitar. Let's start with just an octave, the most basic interval that we actually hear as, the same note in a different place, which is kind of...
For you non-music people, here's a quick primer and a nostalgic trip back to 6th grade music class. A typical musical scale consists of 7 notes, with the first repeated at the end. The first and last note of this series is an octave. For instance, when you play the E string of a guitar without pressing down, you get a low E, the low end of the octave. If you press down halfway up the string, it will vibrate twice as fast, giving you a high E, the high end of the same octave.
I assume you guys all know what octave is in terms of playing it, but have you guys ever seen one?
Well, it's a good thing I came today, isn't it? And then if you can sort of face it up to me a little. Perfect.
All right, so if you hit the low E and the octave above it in unison.
So music is simple. Just apply mathematics. When these octaves are played on 2 different strings, the frequency of vibration in one is a direct multiple of the other. You don't need to be a math whiz to appreciate this. But this is the secret language of every musician, no matter what kind of music they make.
Is that 2 to 1? What is
It's
it?
exactly 2 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Wow.
In heavy metal, this principle is the same, even when played at lightning-fast speed by legendary guitarist Kirk Hammett.
What do you consider the important parts about your playing?
Well, actually, a lot of my technique comes from my right hand, the velocity of it picking on my right hand. But for my left hand, there is a lot of like hammer-ons, pull-offs, like for instance.
Gotta take a look at that.
And you can move it all over the neck.
So no right hand necessary.
No right hand necessary.
One of the things metal is famous for is guitar shredding, which is playing lots of notes as fast as possible. But to get his unique sound, Kirk also uses techniques known as hammer-ons and pull-offs. Hammer-ons allow you to play 2 or more notes for every pluck of a string.
Should we take a look at that stuff?
Yeah, let's take a look. All right.
In a hammer-on, a finger presses a vibrating string into a fret, shortening it and making it play a higher note. The pull-off is the opposite of the hammer-on. The finger is released, so the vibrating part of the string becomes longer and plays a lower note.
Yeah, and you're doing octaves here?
Yeah, that's an octave right there at the 12th fret.
I always thought that hammer-on pull-offs were straight up and down, but it seems like you're giving it a lot of the energy by plucking it almost the way your right hand
Yeah,
would.
I'm hammering on with my finger, and the pull-off is off to the side.
So the hammer is kind of up and down, and then you scrape off sideways.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, just to put it in perspective, this entire clip that we're watching is probably 2 seconds,
Wow.
right? So you were doing that awfully fast.
Playing heavy metal guitar is an aggressive sort of technique to begin with. You really have to hit the strings pretty heavily for maximum effect.
Gotcha. Not a lot of really, really quiet playing.
No delicate strings, because there's not really that much delicate playing.
Kirk's right. Delicate and Metallica do not belong in the same sentence. But delicate might be a better environment to learn a little bit more about music and the emotions it can create.
Just to take it a little more advanced, why don't we use the violin and do fifths, which is a 3-to-2 frequency ratio. So the second simplest thing next to octaves.
Yeah, simple to you. We're still trying to catch up on that whole octave thing.
All right, one more. Perfect. Perfect.
All right, so that covers the amazing thing to me about music is that, you know, an octave we just hear almost as one note in two places. You go to a fifth and it's kind of part of one note, and then you go to the major third and it starts sounding happy. You keep going smaller and you get to minor thirds and then diminished and then minor seconds. You get smaller and smaller ratios and we get kind of less and less happy about it. Our measure of happy versus sad in music is basically how simple is this fraction.
Right.
And it's just like a measure of math.
Right. In actual sixth grade English, certain notes, for instance a 1 and a fifth, sound happy when sounded together. As the notes get closer, the more dissonant or sadder the sound. Got that? This basic musical science applies even to heavy metal.
You good?
You've heard the lecture. Now, here is Professor Kirk with the lab. And even with the high-speed slow-mo camera, it's hard to take notes.
This is just some general finger work. Looks like,
Wow.
taking your time.
I've never seen my fingers move so slowly before, ever.
At 1,000 frames per second, we can see how Kirk's incredible dexterity creates this blizzard of notes.
Now you're just doing a vibrato there?
Yeah, that looks like just a regular vibrato, yeah. Well, it's interesting to see the way my hand is kind of rocking back and forth. I've never seen any of this ever before, and so it's pretty interesting to me.
Awesome.
We've never had Metallica do this for us before either. How awesome was that?
Next, Awesome continues with another killer set from Metallica.
All right, save it for the camera. Save it for the camera.
Let's see. On the Metallica scorecard, James Hetfield, check. Kirk Hammett, check. Next up, bassist Rob Trujillo. Rob is the newest member of the band, having joined the group in early 2003.
Rock. What are you doing there?
All right, save it for the camera. Save it for the camera.
Oh! Sorry.
So what was that called?
That was called the gallop.
What are you doing with the gallop?
The gallop is, imagine horses running along the plains, the open plains. Well, your fingers are the horses. And basically it's just...
Three-legged horses.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in metal bass.
There's a lot of that in metal.
So we should...
Let's start with that, and then we're going to want to get you just kind of going nuts playing this thing.
Okay, cool.
Rob uses a picking style that is unusual in the world of metal.
It seems like most bands that do harder stuff use picks when they play bass. Why do you do finger picking?
My father actually played flamenco guitar when I was growing up. So initially, my first experience actually visually seeing a guitar player was watching him play flamenco.
Okay.
I think that's where I adopted the technique. And then I noticed a lot of the old school bass players were using that same technique, and I just kind of went that route. You know? I'm not against pick playing at all. I think it's cool. It definitely has its place, but I'm better and more familiar with the finger technique.
You can even see the vibration go back and forth along the string.
All the way up. Amazing.
Yeah, you've got the lowest frequency of any of the people in your band, so it's much easier for us to capture.
Right.
Rob utilizes a technique borrowed from jazz and funk, slap bass. In slap bass, one hand literally slaps and pops the strings, giving Rob a more percussive sound and allowing him to play many notes quickly.
So this is the slap segment, which is pretty fast. Whoa.
And the thumb is just doing what here?
Well, the thumb actually, it sort of mutes that low B, which is the thicker string on top, and then you bam!
To see another style of slap bass, we turn to our string band. check out Zach Hickman's technique on the acoustic bass.
Something like that. Awesome. Why don't we look at a slide and really see that as the length of the string changes, what happens?
Sure, yeah. So if I'll play the low note and then just go all the way up on the E string.
Awesome. That's going to look pretty amazing. Yeah, as the string gets shorter, it vibrates faster.
It gets quicker.
It's getting quicker.
As the finger slides down the string, the faster vibrations make the frequency, or pitch, higher.
The vibrational speed is based on tension and density, right? And you're basically changing the tension on that string as you make it shorter and shorter, and it just goes faster and faster.
Your mustache is getting closer and closer.
And on that refined note,
The 12's a blow.
we jump back to Rob, who's about to put his gear and our ears to the ultimate test. He wants to try to blow out a speaker.
And this is going to be any one of these four, right? It seems like it'll probably be one of these guys.
We like the idea. Plus, we just can't end without a little more mindless destruction.
All right, let the medievalness begin.
Turn it up to 11 and
Turn it one louder.
So we try.
it's holding up pretty well.
It didn't blow!
So we try again.
Okay.
Still won't blow!
No, you got a good cabinet here.
Rob won't let it go, so we try again. Rob just won't give up. So he turns it up past 11 and heads for 13. And when all else fails, Rob reverts to the classical method of amp destruction. It's only rock and roll, and we like it.
That's why we're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
When we come back, we bang heads with drummer Lars Ulrich
Go ahead.
as Timewarp continues. Metallica. Timewarp. Enough said. We've gotten a spit take from the lead singer, James Hetfield, and examined the awe-inspiring guitar work of Kirk Hammett and Rob Trujillo. Last stop on our magical mystery tour, founding member Lars Ulrich. Lars' drum work is legendary, but that achievement did not come without a cost.
After 30 years of playing, then I'm gonna have to put these guys in. I'll get a slow motion shot of these going into the ear and get the foam expanding in the ear canal.
You can do that.
All right.
We got an X-ray shot.
Okay.
Maybe Lars should mention that earplug thing to Rob.
What are you saying? Huh? What? I can't hear you. There's 24 people right here. Wow.
Don't get nervous.
At 5,000 frames per second, we can show Lars a few things about his drumming that he's never seen.
Whoa. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that flexible.
Super flexible.
Wow.
It's the only way it makes that much noise.
All right, then.
Sir? We just really want to take a look at all the energy that's in one of these hits. And why don't we just get a shot underneath?
Yeah.
See how the snare works.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got this super wide fish here.
Go ahead.
Okay. Anytime.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Pretty good? Pretty good.
Let's see what you guys got.
We'll see what
All
you
this
got.
equipment you have everywhere.
The slow motion footage shows the hidden anatomy of a drum hit.
This is the underside of the drum, how the snare actually works.
Whoa!
And this is just one hit.
One hit, 5,000 frames per second.
That's unbelievable. It's art. Look at
It
that.
is totally art.
Huh?
I mean, one of the most interesting things to me here is if all these guys move together with the membrane moving back and forth, the snare drum would be tonal. It would be just like any of these stringed instruments. It would have a frequency. The fact that these are all moving at different rates because of the chaos involved in the membrane is why it's a percussion instrument and not a tone instrument.
Wow.
I was going to tell you that, but I figured I'd
There's a teaching gig in there somewhere for you. Something there.
Maybe I'll
wow.
host a science show.
Yeah,
We should do
you
that.
should. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Very cool.
1, 2, 3.
And while jamming with the string band, Professor Lieberman shows that the principle of the snare drum applies to another percussion instrument, the piano.
All right, guys, nice.
Once again, a musical marriage.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Ouch!
It's horrible.
Please, don't shoot the piano player.
When you play, this is almost every note in the scale at the same time.
It's so cool.
Wow.
And you can see there's no lining up of frequencies.
Yeah.
Just like with the snare drum.
Crazy.
That just looks like an earthquake.
Wow, yeah. It's just chaos, yeah.
It's all
like,
over the place. Anything about the footage we're looking at that you haven't seen before?
I didn't know my hairline was receding that far back.
Well, we're slowing it down.
Again, you guys can fix that in post. I didn't know that there was that much movement involved. I mean, when I play drums, it always feels to me like the body's taking most of the hit, and now I can see how much the toms are moving, how much the hi-hat's moving, how much the cymbals. I mean, the energy goes everywhere. I did not know all this stuff, but thank you for enlightening me.
Absolutely.
Any last thoughts, Lars?
Put your tongue back in your mouth. This is a family show. Please.
As Metallica plays us out, check out discovery.com/Timewarp for more information on the science behind the stories. And while you're there, tell us if there's anything you'd like to see warped.
Nobody's seen this for 100 years.